Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Thursday, and it's Renegade Roundup Day.
Yes, it is. Not another special day?
I didn't look.
Well, it's interesting.
If you want me to look while we do our thing, I'm happy to do that. I just totally, I was focused on other things. It is National Hairstylist Mental Health Awareness Day.
So mental health awareness for hairstylists.
Yes, and think about what they go through.
We all have mental health challenges, so I can understand where they might have them. I have my own day today.
What's today?
This is a little surprise. Today is Do Your Best Impression of Bob Day. And we had two people who submitted them, so I thought to keep some joy in our show today, I thought we would share. And so here are, we can rewind and redo our opening with this.
Do, Renegade.
We can
That's
also
good.
do this.
That was Gene Bourne of Born to Travel.
Absolutely. And here is
Tuesday. Hey Tom, how you doing? What do you got going on today?
John. I'm doing really well. Thanks so much for asking, and thank you for submitting.
John Hansen of Mobile Auto Service. There you have it.
Although
two of our longtime participants, and John, I think, is angling to replace me. If I died in a fiery crash tonight, I think John would be sad for about 30 seconds and then be like, do I have Tom's cell phone number? I should text him and say, I'm so sorry. What time do we start tomorrow morning?
I might not be ready to have that discussion just yet. So here's the thing. I love the fact that they both did it. So thank them both for doing it.
Yes.
Although they both had the chance to put like a little image of their business, or John is always wearing mobile auto stuff and he wasn't today in that video. So a missed opportunity. But thank you very much for doing that, both of you.
What if it wasn't a missed opportunity and it was nothing about business and all about just bringing joy to themselves and the people who participated? Because sometimes when I'm involved in joy, I forget those things like, oh, I forgot to bring my business cards. Oh, I forgot to wear my logoed shirt. Oh, I forgot to give my pitch. I mean, I can tell you I've been to networking events where it's like I talked to 5 people for the first time, never told one of them about my business. That to me isn't a failure. That's an opportunity, because you saw a side of John and you saw a side of Gene this morning that their business, you see it if you get to know them, but you don't see it when they tell you about their business. So to me, they deepened our relationship.
Certainly. They made it about supporting this effort, not necessarily about promoting themselves, which I think adds, there are definitely times for both. And if they had, no big deal.
I think it brings them joy to support us, having talked to both of them.
I think that it does as well, I believe.
Which takes us to our topic of the week, Tom, joy. But before we talk about joy, I want to tell people at 4 p.m. today, Eastern time, we're going to bring the joy at the top level. We're talking way up here, man. I'm 6'6", so this is like 6'7", 6'8" kind of joy, because we are doing the Renegade Roundup. That's right, the Renegade Roundup. Walk into the Memorial Day weekend knowing business people, understanding business people, really knowing what makes them tick in ways that you don't normally get. We're going to do it over Zoom, and it's going to be amazing. So cancel your plans to get an early start on the holiday weekend this afternoon. do this first, then hop in your car and find the nearest beach or the nearest campground or the nearest mountain resort, whatever it is. But you don't want to miss it. 4 p.m. today, Eastern time. And sadly, Tom, you will not be with us today at that.
I am going to miss it. I'm disappointed about it. Now that you built this up, I'm like, oh, how can I change my? I can't change my plan.
So there'll be no filtering of what I choose to do at it. So it could be a really good time, folks. So please come join me. Don't let me sit there alone at 4 p.m. today, because then my whole fear that Tom is the reason this whole thing works will just come to the forefront, and I'll have a holiday weekend of worry and fear instead of joy.
Fair enough.
You're just looking like, I can't believe how incredibly insightful that was. That would be what happened.
At all. Not at all. All right. So let's move past that and into, again, our conversation for the week has been around joy. And today we're going to talk about keeping it present. You know, we've gone through what it was, why it matters. We talked a little bit yesterday about what happens if we don't have it and we lose it. And today we want to talk about how do we keep it present. And I think that's a great, it's great, I think, to be intentional about how do you find joy in what you do, and especially as it relates to your work or your profession, because I think so often it's easy to not have joy. And so if you have some thoughts you want to share, please feel free to put them in the comments, because we know it will add. And then at the end, when we add our one thing, please feel free to share your one thing, as we know that it will help someone out there, somebody who's looking for that information, that piece, that value that is going to change the way that they look at their day. And you might say it in a way that is really going to strike home with them. So please feel free to share that in the comments. So Bob, as we dive into keeping joy present, what are some of your thoughts around that?
Well, I'll give you one of the ways I do it. Actually, I'll give you two. One is I write. I've written some fiction. I have written some magazine articles, newspaper articles. I write notes. There are apparently fairies in our neighborhood that write cute little poems for the triplets next door. And I've seen the fairies write the poems. I like to write. It's something that brings me joy, and it's for my own, it's for me. More, even though it serves other people, it's for me. The other thing I do that brings me great joy is I get to talk to people. And it's no coincidence that we do this program 5 days a week in the morning, because at 8 a.m. every morning, I know I have a definite opportunity to have joy in getting to hang out with you, joke around a little bit, cover a topic a little bit, and then move on from there into my day. And usually at about 7:45, I go through a couple minutes of like, really, we're doing this again? I just want to. And then by 7:58, I'm like, I can't wait. And by 8:02, I'm doing my shtick. And that brings me joy all day. And I had this reinforced because Monday and Tuesday, we didn't do the program live. We recorded it.
Right.
And I found at 8 o'clock, I wasn't in the same place mentally. One day I was on a golf course and I was like, oh, it's 8 o'clock. Wow, I wonder what Tom's doing right now. And the other day I was eating really bad hotel breakfast, because now, I don't know if you noticed, Tom, but if you go to the hotels where they include breakfast, it's pretty much cereal. Boxed up. Yeah. Not if you're thinking you're going to the Hilton for a really great breakfast included in your hotel stay, not going to work. I don't blame them. It's not their fault. It's a function of it. I'm not blaming Hilton Hotels. Hilton Hotels of America, please call Tom or me. We'd love to sponsor you, and we'll tell you how great that breakfast is.
No, we want them to sponsor us.
That's right.
For them.
That's right. Thank you for clarifying.
Yes.
And one of the other things that brings me joy is just being able to laugh at things. You know, that was an obvious mistake. It brings me joy that someone out there is going, that was really funny. I can't believe he got that backwards. I'm over it.
Yes. Well, and I think that's one of the ways to keep joy present, right? Is to not dwell on those things that challenge us and those things that we get frustrated by. You know, I think it's easy to do. And it's hard sometimes to break out of that. And yet I think if we make conscious efforts about, I'm not going to let this drag me down. I'm not going to let the fact that something didn't go the way I thought it was going to be, or I didn't get the results I expected, eliminate my opportunity to have joy. And I think that's, as I was thinking about while you were talking about keeping it present, is, finding those things that you do enjoy doing. There are those things that we have to do during our day that are just things we have to do. We might not enjoy them. We have to answer email or the phone, or there's these tasks that we have to do that this is not really what drives us to do what we do. And sometimes we just have to do them. I think one of the ways that some people have found to keep joy present is that they outsource those things that they don't enjoy to do. Whether they hire somebody to do that, they get somebody from the outside to come in and do it temporarily, so that they're really focused on, one, those things that they do well, and the things that they enjoy doing. And I think that makes us, one, more productive, but I think it also makes us enjoy our work more often, when those things that we really don't like and are not really strong at are the ones that typically drag us down. And I think that's one of the signs of becoming a more effective leader or a more effective entrepreneur. Or we've talked about this. I've had this conversation with executive directors of nonprofits about, how do you think about what are the things that you really like to do and that you're really good at? And then build your team around that and find others who find joy in the things that you don't enjoy. And I think when we can really focus on those things that we're really good at and we really enjoy doing, it can be a lot easier to keep joy in our work and present in what we're doing.
I love that idea. That's something I've helped people with and something I've done myself. But I would also tell you, Tom, that I think there's a way that we can find joy in any task. I'm not a big fan of cleaning my house. And thankfully we have a cleaner, but every week or two I will clean the kitchen floor because it just gets dirty. And I know it brings joy to my wife when she cooks breakfast that the floor be clean. And sometimes my joy comes from other people's joy, and doing things to support them instills the joy. And so maybe I really don't enjoy the bookkeeping parts of my business, but I've found a way to find it enjoyable by playing music. I like Broadway show tunes, and I usually am playing Broadway show tunes when I have to deal with my QuickBooks. And so you'll hear Godspell, or you'll hear Hamilton, or you'll hear Dear Evan Hansen playing. And that is the cue to, like, okay, not really going to enjoy this, but I'm going to do something that brings me joy. The other way I keep joy around is there are times where I do something that isn't really joyful, but I know that I have something joyful afterwards. So it's the reward system for me sometimes. I got to do this thing this morning, and if I do that at 1:00, I'm going to take a half hour and go out and read my book under the tree and listen to cicadas. That will bring me joy, because you figure in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, the cicadas are gone.
Sure.
And I was, I had the foolish thought when I woke up to go to the bathroom the other night that in my life, because it's every 17 years, how many more cicadas will I get to see? I really should enjoy this. It was like, wow, that changed.
About it.
But how many people I saw, I had a post read to me yesterday on Facebook. I'm totally anxious because of cicadas. I'm afraid of them. I'm not even leaving my house. And I'm thinking, they're kind of cool. I mean, think about it, every 17 years. And I remember the first time I was like 5. And the second time, I guess I was 23? I don't know. Yeah, something like that.
Good math.
Don't check me on the math. Yeah, I should have written that out. Thank goodness it's not bad math day. If it were that day, we'd celebrate.
Yes, although I think you actually did get that right. So
okay, all right. So I think there are a lot of ways you can do it. I think what we've really talked about this week that we haven't really highlighted enough, in my mind, is that this is a conscious decision. To bring joy to your day, to be joyful, is a personal choice.
Sure.
It's not, yes, it's influenced by outside factors, but ultimately You control that more than I think most of us realize.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there is no doubt. Not that, again, it's not easy to do.
No.
Especially in certain situations. And it's much easier to do in other situations. And we do have the choice. To think, I was talking with a friend last night, who has a longtime friend who's older and not doing great and lives in a different place. And I think our conversation was around, well, you made the choice to go see them last week. Be happy that you had that moment. And you know what? If they're still alive in 2 weeks and you have the ability to go out and visit them again, go do that. And think about the joy that it was that you had that opportunity, rather than worry about, well, what happens if they don't make it till tomorrow? What happens if they don't make it till next week? You can sit and say, yeah, that would be sad. And you could be grateful that I'm so glad I took the action to go see them one more time. Whether that one more time is not really the last time, it was just the last time in that moment. And I think we have the opportunity to make those choices and make the decision that we are not going to let whatever this is drag us down. And we're going to find a way to move forward from it.
Is worry the opposite of joy?
Interesting. Is worry the opposite of joy?
You said worry, and I immediately started to think that we talked about joy this week. And when people are expressing worries, certainly you've heard me do it over the last couple of days about a couple of things. There wasn't much joy in that discussion. And I just wondered, because we often talk about, I'm worried about making enough money, I'm worried about this, I'm worried about that. Maybe that's what's taking away the opportunity for joy.
Yeah, interesting. I don't know if it's opposite.
Okay.
In my mind.
Is it a good topic for next week? Because I'm always eager to know what the topic is before we get there.
You already know what the topic is, although you've forgotten.
Didn't even know.
Yes, you did.
That's okay. Oh, I do. That's right. I do.
Because there's something really special that starts next week. And it's one of the great things about and I think it's a great way to keep joy present, is that when we celebrate. And next week, that's what our topic is going to be about. Oops, let the cat out of the bag. Sorry. I think because we're going to start on Monday, our summer of celebrations. And I have found
Tom, could you please bring it with some authority? Our summer of celebration. This is big. This is game changing.
And I want it to become normalized. That's one of the things I think that
So by the end of summer, you want it to be, it's day 94 of our summer of celebration. I hope you're all enjoying your day.
No, I want it to become a regular part of our day, so that it isn't just looking at, oh yeah, hey, this is something special we're doing for the summer. More like, this is something we do every day, and not just in the summer, and it'll carry on forward, is that we are going to celebrate what's going on. Because I think that's one of the ways to keep joy present. If we are celebrating those things that we do, and again, not necessarily the results, but the actions that we take. I go back to that story we had when we had lunch the one day about you were trying to figure out how to row more. And what became an ultimate driver was the opportunity to celebrate at the end of the week with an old fashioned. And I think sometimes the celebrations that we create for ourselves allow us to get through some of those challenging things so that we can have joy at the end. And they can drive us to do what it is that we really want to do, even though maybe it's not fun, it's not easy, it's just hard for us to complete, or we don't get the results that we expected or wanted. And so we worry that there's, we're sad or upset or frustrated, which to me I see as sort of the opposite of joy.
Okay.
Sadness would be, and I think sadness comes from
frustration or worry.
Yeah, focusing too much on that.
And on results, as you've said articulately many times. I want to get a comment from Tim in, just going back a little bit. You were talking about outsourcing the things that don't bring you joy. Tim said, outsourcing is still a relatively new concept to me, but I must agree it makes working my business so much easier and more enjoyable. Yeah.
Yeah, you get to do the things that you're really good at and that you like to do. Let someone else do the other things that don't bring you joy. And yes, can we find ways? I think your example was good. And I'm the same way. I think that's maybe why I've always liked to have music playing when I do work, because there's even though I might not be really into the work that I'm doing, I can enjoy the music while I'm working through something that may be challenging, or even if I really enjoy what I'm doing, the music just adds to that.
So around our theme this week, Tom, and today we're talking about keeping the joy present. What's your one thing?
One thing to keep, I think to keep it present is I'm going to go back to continue to celebrate. That the more that we celebrate is going to give us the opportunity to keep joy there. And that if we take the time to look at what we have done and celebrate the action and understand the results, and we keep celebrating the fact that we are taking actions. It's kind of like celebrating the fact you wake up every morning. It's a celebration, right? And that brings a little bit more joy to your day when you get up and you're like, I'm very thankful that I have another day to do what I'm doing with. Whatever comes of the day, there are results that will happen. I can still be very grateful. And at the end of the day, when I can look back and be, I am happy, I'm joyful that I had that day. So I think when we continue to celebrate, or maybe even share gratitude, we can find that joy and maintain it and have it be about the opportunities or the actions we have taken, not the results of those actions or opportunities.
Okay, great. I like that a whole lot. I'm going to go a little different direction. I'm going to highlight the idea of pairing. That when you're doing those things that you're not really excited about doing, pairing it with something that brings you joy. So whether it's listening to music or listening to a baseball game, or, I know I've done work at times with a TV show in the background.
Or outside.
Or outside, or at a coffee shop. I used to love to work at coffee shops just so I could look up and see the people filtering by. Or at one point I worked at a co-working facility. And it was just great to go in there sometimes, see everyone just burrow down into their laptops getting stuff done. And so those were ways that I could take some of the drudgery of the job, because we all have it, and find ways to bring joy to it.
I like that. Great. Thanks so much. And if you have your one thing of how you keep joy present, please feel free to share it in the comments, or you can share it inside of Ring of Renegades Facebook group, where we're building a community of people who are trying to help one another take their next step along their own unique pathway to success. And if you are not yet a member, it's easy to do. Just go to Facebook, search for Ring of Renegades, and you can ask to join. It is a private group because we are creating space for people, and we want it to be a community of people who are helping one another. So we hope that we will see you inside the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, or we'll see you at 4 o'clock. Well, I won't, but Bob will see you at 4 o'clock Eastern time. Give me a chance to get to that for our Renegade Roundup. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time.
Oh, Tom, we're going to have to do that early tomorrow.
7 a.m. Eastern time.
7 a.m. Eastern time, yeah. Good save.
Yes. Yeah, or else all those people who are now watching will have missed it. Yeah. So we'll see you at 7 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow morning for our next edition of today's Antidote. Before we get to some further information about the Ring of Renegades, I thought I would just play one more time these two great impressions of Bob. So enjoy. Have a great day, everyone.
Do.
Or
Do. Renegade.
Do. Tuesday. Hey, Tom. How you doing? What do you got going on today?
Carving your own path is tough. You want and need a community to offer you insights and advice, share inspiration, provide support, and save you time and money. But where do you find all that? Here's the easy answer: the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, where leaders, entrepreneurs, and business owners identify their next steps. here's some of what you will find at the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. Just go to ringofrenegades.com and join today. Find and accomplish those next steps.